Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise here, and if you spend as much time rewatching my old videos as I do, then you'll recall with great enthusiasm a video that was produced earlier this year about the dice rolling game Tenzi. If you've ever shaken a jar of mixed nuts to make your favorite ones sift up to the top, then you've played Tenzi. Now, otherwise, everything that you need to know is as follows. To play Tenzi, each player starts with 10 dice, and everyone then rolls them simultaneously. And the first person to have all their dice showing the same side wins. No, seriously, that's it. In my opinion, Tenzi wasn't so much a game as an activity that one may desperately conjure up using a handful of dice that they find in a laundry room junk drawer while trying to pass the 7th mind-numbing hour of babysitting their pre-adolescent nephew during a power outage. So, when I heard that board game publishing juggernaut Cool Mini or Not was releasing a simultaneous dice-rolling game called Play Me, based on Lewis Carroll's World of Wonder and Madness, in which the first player to score a run of 1 to 6 wins, I was, to put it mildly, horrifically terrified. I mean, on paper, Play Me sounds like Tenzi Part 2. So I couldn't help but wonder whether Cool Mini or Not had a few wondrous tricks up their sleeve, or if they, like so many of Lewis Carroll's characters, had succumbed to madness. Well, let's find out if Play Me is worth playing as we compare and contrast Play Me versus Tenzi. Alright, I've already described the intricate inner workings of how Tenzi operates. So now, let's learn the rules of how to play Play Me. In Play Me, 2 to 6 players each start with 6 dice of a specific color, which everyone will simultaneously roll as quickly as they can. But, unlike Tenzi, instead of trying to get all their dice to match the same number, players are trying to get a straight from 1 to 6. No, wait, that still sounds terrible. Okay, so here's where small things, which add up to a big difference, start to be introduced. First of all, players can take one of 3 actions each time they roll their dice. They can advance their straight by selecting a dice that they rolled that contains the next number that they need and placing it into their straight. Or they can temporarily block an opponent by placing a dice with the next number in their opponent's straight in front of that player. And then that opponent can no longer advance their own straight until they take the third action, which is to remove the offending dice by unblocking it by rolling a dice matching that number. And then both the blocking dice and the dice used to dislodge it are returned to their owners. Only 1 dice can be used each time you roll, so players need to roll, evaluate, perform 1 action, scoop up their dice, re-roll, and repeat until somebody completes their run of 1 to 6. Now accomplish that once, and you win the round. Do it twice, and you have won the game. Maybe. See, we'll get back to winning the game in just a minute, but first I wanted to mention how by simply adding the options for players to block and unblock, there's starting to be a game here. Now there's some decisions for the players to make, and the timing of those decisions can be important. And if that's all there was to Play Me, we could consider this a game, albeit a game that's so light it could be blown across the table by a caterpillar sneeze, but a game nonetheless. But there's several more layers to Play Me, which make it a little more interesting. For starters, in addition to their dice, each player also receives a 2-sided character card. And these cards give everyone a unique power that they can use throughout the game. Actually, everyone has 2 player powers. Players start with the Wonder side of their player card, which gives them a helpful ability, such as beginning each round with 1 die already locked, or that they can simply not be blocked by other players. However, the first time a player wins a round, they flip their player card over to its Madness side, which changes their beneficial ability into a harmful handicap, such as allowing them to be blocked by more than 1 die at a time, or having them roll one less die until they've locked at least 4 into their straight. The fact that the player powers switch from helpful to unhelpful helps prevent a runaway leader and definitely makes it more challenging to win that second round and take the game. But when a player who has previously succumbed to madness does pull off that second win, they win the entire game. However, much like a winding rabbit hole, this game always seems to have one more little twist or turn in store. Because if all the players succumb to madness before someone wins that second round, then the game just completely shifts gears and transforms itself into a semi-cooperative game of everyone against the dreaded Jabberwocky. And if that happens, all players' cards are returned to their wonder side, and then the last player to have gone mad is transformed into the Jabberwocky, which gives them an additional player power. Really nasty one, too. The non-Jabberwocky players must now work together to win a number of rounds equal to the total number of players before the Jabberwocky does the same. And if they do, they share the win. Otherwise, the Jabberwocky alone is victorious. Oh! One more wrinkle. Each time a player on the team that's fighting the Jabberwocky does win, they can actually choose to either add the win to their team's score towards the collective victory, or choose to betray their teammates and descend once again into madness. And in that case, if that player wins one more round before the Jabberwocky wins the game, then that player alone steals the win from the Jabberwocky and from the rest of their teammates. Whoops. And that's how to play Play Me. When compared against Tenzi, Play Me reads like almost a textbook example of applying modern board gaming mechanisms over a basic gaming concept. I mean, there's some light strategic and tactical decisions to be made. There's asymmetrical player powers, competitive and semi-cooperative play, and even a potential hidden traitor. It almost seems like an exercise in game modernization. But, all of that means nothing if those ingredients don't distill down into a cohesive game. So, does Play Me work? Well, perhaps I'm biased due to my experience and exposure to Tenzi, but to me, it does. I enjoy Play Me. It's light, fast, and one of those games that can result in those moments of energetic shouting, pointing, and laughing at one another. But Play Me also is one of those games that success really depends on who you play it with. It's been a hit or a miss with the various different groups that I've introduced it to. The main point of contention that I've encountered with the game is that it can really be uneven. I've seen games of Play Me range literally from 2 to 20 minutes. Sometimes the game seems to be over before it even starts, just due to how the dice roll. Another thing that can potentially sour the experience is the Jabberwocky mode, or more specifically, the lack thereof. I mean, here's this fantastic twist the game offers, but it's only been triggered in a sliver of the games that I've ever played. But I keep wanting to see it just more and more than just being a rare treat. It's an endgame mode that ties off the whole thread of madness that's woven throughout the game, and when it's not triggered, the game can be left feeling incomplete. So, do I enjoy Tenzi? No. Do I enjoy Play Me? Yes. My interest in this game may have started out just as a morbid curiosity, but now it's staying in my collection as a light and frenetic filler. However, its unevenness may prevent it from hitting the table as often as it could. Now, I think that this could be mitigated by introducing some slight rules revisions to keep the game length more consistent. Additionally, another set of player abilities to add to the mix to choose from would really give the game some longer legs, and I'd even be interested to see a character that plays with an 8-sided dice. And of course, a way for the Jabberwocky mode to be introduced on a more regular basis would be great. But all in all, that's just my thoughts off the top of my head. But what do you think? Have you played Play Me? And how does it compare to Tenzi and to other dice games that you've played? Let me know what your experience has been in the comments below. While you're here, Be sure to subscribe to the Dice Tower and Pair of Dice Paradise YouTube channels, where you'll find more board game news, reviews, and commentary. And for even more board game content and conversation, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. Until next time, I've been Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise. Take care.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool Stuff, in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
I'm playing Play Me. I'm playing both players on Play Me, but I'm trying to Play Me here. And it's kind of hard to Play Me when you're playing both parts yourself, because you can't know what you're doing all the time because you're playing Play Me. And you're playing Play Me so much, it's hard to play both sides. Okay, that's enough.